Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. Welcome to our next Facebook Live in the Where Are They Now Impact Leaders series. So we're joined today with three ladies who were 2020 Leaders with 2020 Vision last year, our Impact Award winners, here to talk about the impact that they made in the community and are continuing to make in the community. Just a reminder, we are still accepting nominations for the 2021 Impact Awards. Those nominations will be open through June 25th. The link is here on the screen, so be sure to type in that bit.ly address and it will take you to our nomination form. You can feel free to nominate yourself, you can nominate others, you can nominate more than one person. I would say we're probably not accepting nominations for dogs or cats, maybe in 2022. So this year we'll keep it to humans, but we are still excited to read the nominations that you have in such trying times. We've had some exceptional impact in the community, some exceptional people who have kind of risen to the occasion and really made a difference in the Delaware and surrounding community. So we know that last year's 2020 winners were not all of the people that we'd like to highlight. There's still obviously more to be highlighted this year, more good work being done, and we're so thrilled to be able to read the nomination forms and announce the winners this July and again at the Mill Summit, which is August 2nd through 4th, 2021. My name is Valerie Lane. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications with Spur Impact. My signature is that I rarely remember to introduce myself, so I can check that off for today, even if it's a little delayed. So let's bring on our guests today. There they all are. The magic of virtual, everyone can just appear at once. Hi. We've even got a special +1 guest. Love it. And technically they were in the picture on the form. So that's great. Everyone who's pictured showed up. So I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourselves because you're going to do it way better than I would do it for you. So Carly, why don't we start with you and the little one? Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and how you're making an impact in the community.
Hello, everybody. I would also just like to say I'm so thrilled to be here with everybody. One of my favorite parts about, kind of the weirdness that happened is that I still feel like we have this ability to connect. So I'm so glad to be here connecting with you all. My name is Carly Carey. This is Abel. He was in my tummy in the picture that you saw of me. So he's here with us today. And my husband and I own a little farm where we live. And then we also own a little restaurant, which is where I am right now. And when COVID hit and our doors were closed, it was just a really scary time for us as business owners. And we felt really bummed out, to say the least, that we felt like we were letting down not just our community by having our doors shut, but also our team, who's like a family to us. So we really took it hard. And when we got the green light to do anything out of the restaurant, we immediately just started asking anybody and everybody, like, how can we help you? So a couple of things that I'm really proud of that we did last year is we did an incentive with our local library. And in fact, the library director there is a childhood friend of mine. They needed lunches because they had always done lunches for kids up to 18 years old. And with the library shuttered, they weren't doing the lunches anymore in the library. So they wanted to do to-go lunches, and they were soliciting local businesses to do one lunch per summer. It was such an amazing opportunity for us that I was literally like, can we do more than one lunch? Like, can we do all of the lunches? So we did lunch every Friday, probably just about 50 bag lunches. And my husband and myself, we have a toddler. She would sticker the little paper bags, and we would get those lunches to the library. And we're super proud that we did that. We did a few other things, but I don't want to take up too much time before we get to introduce everybody else. So that's one way that we feel we really made an impact. And we're just so proud to be a restaurant owner and to be a small business owner and to give back. So we were thrilled.
Amazing. And Carly, what is the name of your restaurant?
I guess I should do that. I guess we're called One Coastal Farm and Kitchen, and we're in Fenwick Island, Delaware. So I'm not sure where everybody is coming from, but we're just in this little tiny shopping center in Fenwick.
Amazing. And I'm confident when I say this summer is going to look a lot different than last summer for you guys.
It has already, the past 2 weeks have been like a different universe. We are eternally grateful to be getting back to where we feel like, of course, we deserve to be and we worked to be, but we are just glad to be getting back there, and every day are so thankful.
So great. I can only imagine the hours that you've all already put in, and it's barely Memorial Day weekend passed. So fantastic. All right, India, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. Everybody knows 2020 was a very difficult transition year. I call it like a very transitional year for everybody. My name is India Colon. I'm the vice president of a nonprofit organization that focuses around the cultural arts and really embodies the Hispanic community and just helping manifest what the Hispanic community does on a social impact, political impact, and especially in the cultural arts impact. So I'm really excited because I've been with the organization volunteering since 2005, and I became a board member in 2012. And I've been the vice president for a few years now. So I'm really excited for where the organization was versus where it is today. 2020 was definitely an impact year. A little bit about myself. I'm a retired veteran. I retired in 2019 before COVID and everything exploded. I did 22 years with the United States Air Force, the Delaware Air National Guard. It was my heart and soul. But so somehow always being a public servant, but then I kind of transitioned and stayed consistent in the community, so to speak. So I'm really excited because since I've retired, I've had to find ways to really just stay impactful. So the Impact Awards was really good to see manifesting, because it's really hard to transition from one career service that's very consistent, very direct, and very much that, to a very open space and open platform, networking and just meeting great individuals like everybody that's on this platform. So I've really enjoyed the transition. I've gotten myself to dedicate myself more toward the organization and a lot of the initiatives there. So 2020 was interesting because, like I said, it was such a big transitional year. And with Nuestras Raíces, which in English translates to our roots. So it's very heritage, very cultural, and very arts driven. And it just gives people a lot of educational platform about the Hispanic roots all the way across in all the 19 countries that come in with that. So it's been really fun doing what I like to call, how can you stay impactful, especially during the whole COVID season. So we had to kind of shift and navigate, like many business owners, many organizations. But, you know, we got to birth some really new things that I don't think we would have had in our vision had COVID and 2020 not happened. So you kind of became an innovator in a sense. So it's been really exciting. You know, we birthed the LGBTQ community. We have a chair in our board, that's Angel Nieves. He is the LGBTQ chair. He birthed the Loop for Love in Wilmington, Delaware, which is going to come up at the end of the month, Pride Month. And he has so many things that manifested in that year. He brought out the LGBT community during our cultural parades and festivals, and now is just kind of starting to get the momentum in that within the Hispanic community. So that was exciting in 2020. And then I think one of the biggest projects that we had, besides partnering up with so many of the small organizations, was the partnerships for a lot of the mural projects that are happening with nonprofits like 302 Guns Down, the Roberto Clemente Little League. So many great little things that have birthed in impact during 2020. And our biggest one, I would have to say, was how to stay culturally active in the arts for kids who are like stuck to virtual all the time. So we developed and launched the Delaware Kids Art Network, which is hands-on art STEM kits that were delivered. Thousands of kits were delivered to either schools or private families that were home-based virtual schools, just so that they can get a break from the internet and all the technology that we've had to force ourselves to depend on during the pandemic. So it's been a fun, interesting, and innovative year for 2020. So I'm really excited to see what the next wave of Impact Award winners, are coming in, and what else I can learn from them, because I've learned a lot.
That is incredible. So many different communities that you have been able to touch during this time. And I'm already thinking of so many wonderful follow-up questions for you, India, and also Carly, but I want to give Pauline a chance to introduce herself first. So Pauline, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, geez, I am just surrounded by so many impactful people this afternoon. I will try to live up to being last. So my name is Pauline Tartaglia, and I am the owner and interior designer at PRB Designs. And through COVID, we've actually really become a heavy construction assistance firm. And that's its own separate thing for 2020, what everybody's been dealing with construction. Try to get a plumber or an electrician out within the next 3 months, and let me know how that goes. But I think what the Impact Award was really for and about in my life was Fresh Start Scholarship Foundation. I've been a part of that foundation for 10 years. And we help women who have been in large gaps or age gaps or just economic gaps that they weren't able to go back to college, that's not normal for a non-traditional female student to have an access to scholarships. And that's what we provide. And then so throughout 2020, it was a chance for me to really up my volunteer game. And I became the vice president of Suiting Warriors, which is my husband is in the Air National Guard as well, India. So I definitely feel for all of you. And we provide suits to veterans who are transitioning out of the, being in their regular uniform every day into what they would have to be as their new uniform, and provide suits to them and teach them how to kind of dress and kind of do all that kind of stuff. And then I was also part of the marketing team for Great Danes, which some of you may have heard of. They're a huge supporter of the Millennial Summit. And then I also am part of a small business networking organization, which kept small businesses afloat in Newark, which is our BNI Newark 1 chapter. So with COVID hitting, I really thought it was going to impact my business in a negative way, but I was like, no way, I'm amping up everything that's going on in this community because so many things were still happening. So that's kind of what I did.
Amazing. And in the time when COVID first came into our lives, it seemed like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do? How is this happening? Like, there was so much inward retreating, I feel, from everyone because it was just so unexpected, right? But then there was this surgence of partnerships and collaborations that I was really amazed at. It sounds like all three of you really leaned into that collaboration in nonprofit ways, in profit ways, like Pauline, even with you partnering with construction companies. What an amazing collaboration that may or may not have happened if COVID weren't have occurred, right? There's some needs that we knew existed before COVID, but then there were some needs that arose because of COVID, right? So I'd love to hear a little bit more from each of you on how those partnerships have changed your businesses or organizations, or even the way you just operate moving forward. Obviously, we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, reach a time when COVID is in the real rearview mirror, right? And it may be easy to just kind of forget about all those partnerships that came up. So how will that impact you moving forward? Are there things that you'll continue to do, new partnerships that are in the works? I'd love to know the collaborations that are happening. Anybody can jump in. Anybody can jump in.
So like for me, I always thought my business was going to be just me by myself. Okay, maybe you would call it like a hobby business, maybe not. I never thought I operated my business like a hobby. It very much was a business, but I never thought that I would have employees. I never thought that I would be potential to have a space. Like, I feel like COVID, if you really leaned into what everybody was talking about and being a part of a community and joining an outreach, and those people wanted to give back to you just as much as you wanted to give to them. And I think that was the real human compassion really did cut. Like, there was a lot of bad things that happened in 2020 as well, but I think that it was an opportunity for very, very unique communities to come together instead of for a lot of people like myself who were, what do they call them, like silo entrepreneurs, or you work by yourself. So you live by yourself, you work by yourself, you do all this stuff. And I think 2020 really brought out what a community can do, especially for me. I'm in Wilmington, I'm not in Lower Delaware, but there was a lot of community brought together up here, I think. And I'm going to take that forward. So that's what I'm taking forward.
Yes, solopreneurs breaking out of the silo that you were talking about, collaborating together. That's amazing. And some initiatives, like you mentioned, Pauline, that were happening even before COVID, like, you know, providing suits and those collaborations, which became even more important, and you'll continue forward. India, did you want to go?
I think a lot of the collaborations were, like you said, they were really unique and they've been really fun. And because, you know, when you think cultural arts or just cultural and you think heritage, you think of such a diversity of people coming together. So I had to switch my mind from like people to organizations. Like, how do we make that an organizational diversity versus, you know, like the same consistency of you've seen? So We've partnered up during the pandemic, during the Impact Awards, and kind of moving into this innovative timeframe now where, you know, you have this small nonprofit organization that we work with that really focuses on the inner city, the urban areas, and just the underserved communities. So then we find ourselves partnering up with great individuals and great organizations like the Delaware Art Museum, which is so left field to what we're consistently used. So we're used to just, you know, partnering up with an organization like 302 Guns Down, who's doing a beautiful mural on the side of like 2nd Street and Lincoln Street in Wilmington. And it's like this beautiful mural. And now the art museum's partnering up with us and offering grant opportunities to really bring something on a very different scale, but that's going to attract a new diverse community as well. So the Delaware Art Museum has been like catastrophic in bringing in so much diversity, and like the excitement of that has been amazing. Organizations like the West Side Grows with like Sarah Lester and her team, we've recently launched our first open streets in partnership with them. And we're just an organization that kind of chimes in during the steering committee meetings to kind of give input in the inclusivity of everything. And they've been phenomenal just kind of doing that. But they have a great tendency of not just opening up their doors to their partnership, but whatever resources they have, it's sharing. So I think what I've learned most during the pandemic is normally you have organizations or businesses in a regular day-to-day, you know, like Pauline was saying, it's like everybody's like this, but then it kind of opens up this beautiful wave of opportunity and compassion and selflessness, where before we never wrote a grant. And during the pandemic, I was like, we need to figure something out here, because it's not like we have special events outdoors that we're doing. So maybe we need to depend on grants. We started writing grants, and it's like we're 3 grants in with awards of, you know, over the 3-year period now of over 200 grand. I'm like, this is great. And I don't think that would have happened, you know, because that gives us the opportunity to give people the opportunity to work and be hired. And so it has really opened up a diverse wave, the courage to, you know, work with some grant opportunities that are going to offer more opportunities for the community. So, and it's really exciting to see how that's manifesting, because it's all on momentum right now. You know, normally we're just organizations who's like, you know, nonprofit. We're always begging for money to try to do an event. And I'm like, now we have funding that we can give out to the community for all these great initiatives. And we're in a really comfortable place. But the diversity of it has been with the organizations and collaborations where they've been more compassionate to share information. Before it was like, we're us, you're you. And now it's like, we're all in this together. Let me share my resources. How can you get a grant? Let me share my old grant, and maybe you can work through it so you can learn how to write it. So that's been really interesting. And it's been, like she said, a very compassionate time during the transition of Impact from 20 to 21. So I think that's probably my biggest takeaway. And I would love to see, you know, that the 2021 Impact recipients and leaders, as well as the followers of the Mill Summit and beyond, they really continue that momentum, because, you know, during the pandemic, we tend to get very comfortable. We've conditioned ourselves in a way pre-pandemic. And then during the pandemic, we had to recondition ourselves to be where we are in the mindset that we're in. And now we're comfortable again. So now it's like we have to break the cycle and recondition ourselves to this transition. So I'm like, how do we do all that without losing, like Pauline was saying, that compassion, that sense of, you know, we could still do this together, even though we're now going back out into our respective worlds.
Right. We all get to take our masks off working together moving forward. That's great. Carly, what about you?
One of the other little things that we did in 2020 was we kind of hit social media, mainly Instagram specifically, really, really hard with like what we were doing. Like when we closed the doors, I was making 40 dozen cinnamon rolls by myself every single day because we didn't know if it was safe to be around everybody. So people were hopping on to see what we were doing. And as that started happening, we started saying, hey, well, we want to support our first responders and all of the nurses, doctors, everybody involved in taking care of all of these patients and nobody knew what the deal was at that point, right? So it was like extra scary. So we had 6 different customers or followers of the restaurant, and they donated $500 for us to make food to deliver to different hospitals in the area. So kind of what Pauline touched on in the beginning, it's like we all, when push comes to shove, we all have a choice. And is your choice to show up and to do what's scary or hard or you don't have the money for it because you don't have any money? Like, is your choice to show up or is it to shrink back? And I think COVID really made us show up, because if I'm not the type of business owner, human, family, if I'm not the type of person who can really take care of other people when they need it more than I do, then what kind of example am I setting for the community that I grew up in? My husband and I both grew up here. For the other business owning friends that we have, for all of the other first responders and frontline responders that were taking care of everybody else, we felt really proud that people trusted us. They just literally would just send us money. Somebody came by, I was outside the restaurant, they came by with an envelope of cash. Like, people were nuts. And it just reminded me that you're gonna find what you look for. So if you're looking for people to be down on you or down on what's happening, you're going to find them. But if you're looking for those little magical unicorns that are going to drop off envelopes of cash and Instagram you and Venmo you money so that, and we don't have like delivery. We've got like a 38-seat restaurant. So like someone would come here and take the food up to 30, 45 minutes away to all of the area hospitals. So I love that we got the choice to show up for our community. And I think that will give us the opportunity moving forward to keep showing up, right? Like, people know that, like, I'm going to say yes. Like, what do you need? I will do it, you know? And I mean that from the bottom of my, like, community driven, team driven, family driven heart. Like, I don't think I said no to a donation ever. Like, do you need something? I will make it happen. Like, I don't care, you know, like, our communal success is way more important than my bank account or how many butts are in my seats. Like, none of that is anything without the people to hold you up. So I think 2020 definitely taught us that people are better than you give them credit for. And if you show up for them, they're going to show up for you tenfold. And we were the recipient of that personally, professionally. And then we got to pass that on to our community. And I will forever be grateful to COVID because it stopped us in our tracks and it made us take a deep breath, reevaluate, and really start cranking. Like, what is important right now? Your community, your people, taking care of one another. And we got that opportunity to do that. And we probably just would have kept on chugging along in our lane had that not happened. And so I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be a part of something bigger than One Coastal. And up to that point, you know, we were, but not to this extent, certainly.
Yeah, a lot of times restaurants, I remember, would do, one night fundraiser for a local school, right? Like a PTA collaboration, one night, 10% of all sales goes to, and it was nice, right? Like it was nice. That's exactly what it was, those four letters. But it really opened up. I can think of, another restaurant owner, Sasha Aber in Newark at Homegrown. I know, opposite end of the state for you, Carly. But Sasha did something similar with partnering with Christiana Care, and they would donate entire meals to the different departments, different clinics, units, I think is the word I was trying to find there, at Christiana during the pandemic. So it was such an opportunity for restaurants to rise to the occasion and give back. It was an opportunity for all organizations. And I just want to commend all of you, right? Like this is going to pay off tenfold, in good karma, because if you do good things during a pandemic, I mean, that's great karma you're going to cash in someday, right? And B, because people are going to remember like what you did during the pandemic, right? Like people are going to see what you did, how you showed up for your community. They're going to remember how they were able to collaborate with you, and they're going to hopefully carry that forward, right? And I'm certainly taking note of the places that didn't do anything at all and the places that did kind of show up for the community. So I want to thank each of you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Carly, your little one is so well behaved. I have never seen it before in all my days, really.
It's because he has a 3-year-old sister who is a wild woman. So he's just like cool, calm, and collected.
So good. So good. Love the balance. Is there any last thoughts you want to leave us with, or any quick plugs you all want to make?
Yeah, I'd love to thank all of you guys again. I'm really inspired. Like I'm looking at like the panel today, and you have, Carly, she's in Sussex. I'm out here in the middle of Kent, and I'm very new in this area now. And then you have Newcastle County with Pauline. So that's kind of cool. We're covering like the entire state. But I want to thank everybody who's watching, who's going to watch later once they get shared to the pages. Our organization is here just helping out as much as we can. I'm grateful for all the supporters, like, Valerie, like you were saying, and I'm really excited about the things that have flourished since then. Like I said, Luke for Love is coming out. So that's going to be coming out June 26th. It's a big celebration of our LGBTQ community and the manifestations of Hispanic, partnering up with the Delaware Historical Society. And we have a great program coming out between DCANT and the Emerging Developing Leaders program that's going to be free to 30 recipients in the community. With a lot of great resources that's going to be coming out, but I'll have all that on the pages. Thank you. I'm a fan of all of you great ladies, Valerie and Charlie on the back end as well.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. Pauline, Carly, any last words?
I think just a big thank you, obviously, from us as well. We post a lot of funny content on Instagram about where we're going in 2021, not just with the restaurant, but with our family and our little crazy farm. And we would love it if we could connect with you there. We're One Coastal Farm and Kitchen, all words. If you're on Instagram, we would love to see you. It's a great way for me to really to keep the momentum going. So we would love to see you there in our little tiny restaurant. And thank you so much for having us. I can't believe that this is like real life. This is awesome. Thank you.
And if you have an envelope full of cash laying around your house, I hear Carly will take it at the restaurant. Amazing. Pauline?
Just ditto what everybody's already said. Of course, thank you to Millennial Summit. Obviously, none of this would be possible without you, like hearing about everybody's impact in 2020. But so beyond business stuff, I already mentioned I don't Zoom that often. I don't social media that often either. I'm like the worst millennial on the planet, so don't ask me about any of that. But if you have any questions about if you're a woman who is looking to go back to school, about Fresh Start Scholarship, happy to answer them. If you are a veteran in need and are transitioning out and need a suit, please still hit me up through my business. Or if you're interested in Great Danes, or if you want to know about small business stuff in Wilmington area, I'm definitely happy to help with all of that. But you can use all the contact information for my business to reach me for sure.
So great. So great. And we linked out to everyone's business in the comments. I almost said chat, in the comments. That's how Zoom has changed my brain. Everything's in the chat box. Everything's leave meeting. Everything is transformed to Zoom conversations. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We super appreciate you viewing, all your support. Thank you, three ladies, for all the work that you've done in the community. Don't forget to nominate for the 2021 Impact Award winners, and stay tuned for Mill Summit tickets to go on sale later this week, and we'll see you in August. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.